Why? Easy. Yeah. You know what I holla? Do you know what I holla? Do you know what I holla? Yeah. You know the itty bitty city by the water that's steady getting taller.
Welcome to the White Bronco Show. Whose side are you on? Putin or Jesus? My name is Tommy Marks. I am your host, and tonight we have a very special guest calling in from New York. Our guest, Jordon Lepointe. Did I say that right, Jordon?
Well, it was close. It's Lepointe.
Hey, you blocked the White Bronco Show on Twitter, so I couldn't really get your last name.
Oh, I did? I didn't. You know why? I have so many. I block and block without really paying attention sometimes. I'll have to unblock.
Okay. Well, I thought you were maybe trying to get a job or, it's not the best thing on your resume, having the White Bronco Show, but it's okay. We'll sync back up on Twitter.
I think it's a proud and wonderful thing. I'm going to unblock immediately.
Hey, thank you for calling in. I know it's late out there. What do you really consider yourself? Because you've been a model since you were 15 in New York City. You have a music history?
Yes, my mother was a concert pianist. So we were city kids, me and my two sisters. So she started us all on piano, and then we went to different instruments, and I ended up playing a saxophone in a band in New York City. My mother got me the saxophone when I was about 15 because she couldn't stand to hear me sing. And she said, "Here, put this in your mouth and shut up."
Excellent. Did you ever play with anyone famous in New York?
Well, my first husband was well known, but let's not go there. So, but we were a well-known New York band because we played every club every other night. So people who went to clubs to listen to rock and roll music or some jazz funk, they knew who we were.
What was your favorite club to play in New York?
I really liked, the China Club was where my sax was stolen, but I did like that tiny little stage in that place up until then. But I liked the Cat Club and the Limelight. They had big stages. We would play Great Adventure in the summers. That was fun.
How was your How did you get your saxophone stolen?
Well, the manager always says if you want to hang out after you're playing, you can keep your instruments. They're safe in my office. So he lied.
So
I left the country.
Did you ever smoke that jazz grass back in the day when you were a musician?
What's jazz grass?
Weed.
Oh, it's just pot.
Yeah, that's my favorite term.
Plenty of it, yeah. Sure.
Excellent. Okay, so you lived in New York.
So you're assuming I stopped. Okay.
No.
All right.
Good. How is the weed in New York? It's not Southern California.
It's really it's skunky.
Excellent.
It's really skunky. It's good, yeah.
Well, you'll be my go-to contact when I fly into New York.
Yeah, that's right. Just give me a call and I'll procure.
Excellent. So tell me about why have you lived all over the world?
Well, I actually was born in New York City, but my father, when he got out of the Korean War, the government sent him to South America, so we were traveling around, because I'm half Hispanic, we were traveling around South America for a while, and my mother's side is from Germany and Holland. But I was living in Paris to be near my sister when I was working for the military airlines. And
then you started modeling when you were 15. How'd you get into that?
That was kind of a coincidental mistake. I was not dressed up. I had my hair in a ponytail, but I had two girlfriends whose fathers bought them a lot of clothes and had really nice pictures from photographers who charged a lot of money, and they wanted to be models. However, they were also Hispanic, but very small.
Okay.
Well, shorter.
What?
And I was a 14-year-old, 5'6" person already. So I went into the modeling agency with them to give them some support, and they got thrown out really quickly. And when I got up to leave with them, the woman who ran the agency said, "Oh, I can get work." And I said, "No, I'm just here with my friends to support them." I had no makeup on, nothing. And she said, "I can get work. Here's my card. Bring your mother, and we'll sign a contract if you want to work." And I thought, yeah, I want to work. I was living with a single mother, so yes, I wanted to work. So that's how it started. And I started doing fashion shows, and it was killer on the feet. It was really hard.
That's amazing. Speaking of young, beautiful women, you told me that you have some good Bill Cosby stories?
Well, no, I had one in particular that I remember because everybody used to talk about what a sleaze he was way back, then in the 80s, and you had heard stories from older women. I actually did run into Beverly Johnson once at a modeling gig, but we had this friend who came here from Europe. I'm going to be really discreet here, so she doesn't, God forbid she would be ever listening.
She's not, trust me.
Okay, she came here from Europe. She was working as a hostess at a New York restaurant. This happened to be one that he frequented with his wife a lot. The owner knew she was here alone, nobody watching or protecting her. He introduced her to Bill Cosby, and she was very excited. She came here to act. She was really cute girl. And he, one day after dinner, asked her boss if she could leave early to go to his house with his wife and talk about being on a show. She said she wanted her SAG card. Well, Camille went upstairs, left her alone in the living room area in the townhouse with Bill Cosby.
What part of New York is this in?
He lived at the time on the Upper East Side, and then I think he had a brownstone on the Upper West Side.
Okay.
But I think she was at the Upper West Side brownstone.
Okay, so Cosby's wife's upstairs sleeping. He's got your girl downstairs by the fire.
Yeah. And she said he took it out, and she said she ran out of there. That's what she said. 3 months later, we put on the Cosby Show, and there she is. And she had her 3-liners to get her SAG card, and I think you had to be on TV in those days twice to get it.
Wow.
And she ended up getting, and I thought, we all thought, wait. She moved to L.A., and we never saw her again. If she really ran out of his place, as she said she did, I don't think he would be so gracious as to give her some lines on his show so she could get her SAG card.
Did she have a reputation of being promiscuous, or?
No, she seemed like a little mousy to want to be an actress in New York. Apparently not. We figured she either blackmailed him or she probably threatened to go to the police. I don't know, threatened to go to the papers. Or she actually helped him out. We don't know.
Let me ask you a question.
Story.
In the early 80s, if Cosby pulled his dong out on you, would you play with it to boost your career?
Oh, no.
I'd put it anywhere.
No, I got married kind of young to a rock and roll musician who had just come off the tour with Led Zeppelin. And no, I would have been afraid to go into his house, even with his wife, I think.
The restaurant owner, did you know that guy?
No, I didn't, but we we knew of him, and of course he had a reputation, so we all knew him, but didn't know him personally and his wife. But we were all really angry that he let a girl who was unprotected, with no family or friends, new into New York, go to that guy's house. He must have known. Everybody knew.
I heard of rumors in Chicago that Bill Cosby was really friends with a lot of bar owners, and they invented a thing called Cosby cubes. and he would roofie ice cubes. And then the bar owners and stuff like that would just keep a separate ice tray for him. So I wanted to see if maybe you knew that guy and you knew anything about Bill Cosby ice cubes.
Wow, I never heard about Bill Cosby ice cubes. I did know that, everyone said he would, slip a Mickey in your drink, and he had a bad reputation. So, who would know to tell this girl or warn her, if Cosby comes in with his wife, the wife is a nut, she knows what's going on, who leaves their husband downstairs with a beautiful blonde girl who's desperate for an acting job. He's got the biggest show on TV at the time.
Hey, you just called Mickey, that's a Quaalude, right? Is that a New York term for Quaaludes?
Well, yeah, any kind of a Tylenol, Quaalude, Tylenol, anything they would stick in your drink to knock you out.
You said you dated a famous rock star. We don't have to name names, but you also have told me you dated a famous comedian. And,
I was a model in Manhattan. That's
right.
All I met were, famous people.
Creative people.
Yes, creative people.
And
neurotic people, needy people.
And you were fortunate enough to see Rodney Dangerfield's last show before he died?
Yeah. It was his last show. He had that little club uptown in New York, and I went in there with my one of my exes, and he was slowing down. He was amusing, but you could tell he was getting older and slowing down.
Did you ever smoke jazz grass with Rodney?
No.
Okay. I've met a lot of people out here.
But with everybody else in Manhattan, I would say yes.
Who's
that's what everybody did, rum and coke, and
What's a name you could drop for someone you've smoked crons with that we would all know?
I could drop a lot, but I really don't want to. Off air, I would tell you.
Okay.
Well, I would say most everybody, any musician would.
Excellent. Let's get to...
Yeah, a lot of musicians and a lot of well-known bands. I'll say that.
Okay. Let's get to your first book.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a real story. When I came back from Siberia, I had I was kind of scammed in a phony adoption from a Russian adoption agency in another state. And we gave them $35,000 to go have a legitimate adoption in a place I didn't know was never visited by anybody and had no orphanage. But I had spent the $35,000. I talked my ex-husband into going there for a week, and I knew something was wrong. She was here on a camp basis for 3 weeks with another family. A newswoman was supposed to adopt my daughter and didn't because she wasn't getting any information about the name of the orphanage, what area was it in, where was she going to fly to, how long would she be there. It was all sketchy. And she knew I had been flying all around the world, and I've seen a lot of bad places, and I speak a lot of languages. Not a lot, but I was qualified in 6 at the time, not Russian. And I said, she brought my daughter over the house to go in the pool every day. And when she said, I don't think I can do it, my mother's sick, I said, all our mothers are sick. That's not a good excuse. You've got me attached to this kid. It's some unholy game of chicken you put me in.
What year is
this,
Because
one of us has to get her. Which one of us is going to get her? And she waited, and then she dropped the adoption, and then from there I had to proceed in earnest because it was hard, it was long, and I was on a mission because the kid was sick, So I came back so disturbed. I wrote a book, got a lit agent. He said, screenplay it, it'll be marketable. And then I got 17 awards and recognitions for that screenplay because everybody felt so bad for what I went through in Siberia.
I was reading today, in 2012, December, Putin signed a law that effectively banned U.S. citizens from adopting Russian children. And it also bans U.S.-funded civic groups from operating in Russia.
That happens, though, so consistently. I was told I had to wait 8 months to get my daughter, and when she got on the bus to go back, she knew that family was not taking her. They said nothing to her, and they gave her no clue through an interpreter. I'll never forget her face. There was a moratorium, and a serious one going on during the time I was trying to adopt her. If you want to get a kid out of a country, which is what I always try to tell people when I talk about the story, I'm really not so much as telling, the hardship I went through climbing over ice and snow in the frozen tundra and denied food and water because I was an American. I went through a lot there. The point is, you don't take no for an answer, and you blend. You learn the language. If you have to get somebody out of Siberia or any country, I hear China has a lot of horror stories. They come back without their kid. You cannot take no for an answer. You will learn the language, and then you will get to know in these small towns who's running it. And you proceed from there aggressively and with a luggage, filled with something you probably gonna need,
Your book and script is called She Was Left Alone, and then that was the one that made it to the film festivals in U.S., Mexico, Canada?
Yeah, but my second one, that was such a hard and depressing and emotional story, that's why it got picked up by everybody. So I went the other way. I met a woman online, and she's in the business for a long time, and we wrote a dark comedy called Pill. And that now just got its 6th film festival nomination.
Wow. And when did you guys release that?
Just 2 months ago.
Excellent.
This is very new. It's hysterical because we did get first hate mail from it. There were men who read our screenplay that were so afraid we'd ever meet their wives. They reviewed it harshly, and then we got a good review by Blue Cat, which is a pretty big screenplay competition, and the guy was into it, and from there it just changed the vibe over 180, and we started getting nominated.
Tell me about what it's about.
What it's about. Okay. My co-writer is Susie Carr, and she said, don't get too into it. We just got a director signed, and we have distribution. Okay, it's about a woman who is stuck in an abusive marriage with a real psycho, a real sociopath and a psycho. And
I like him.
She empowers herself in a very diabolical and insidious way, and she gains control. I think that's the best way to put it. I could read you the log line. It's probably clearer.
Yeah.
The good news is you married a rich man. The bad news is you married a rich man. Cindy has learned when to put up and when to shut up, but now she's in the midst of an angry divorce, painted into a frightening corner with an abusive addict trying to strip her of her children, her home, her dignity, until she finds an inglorious way to take control of the situation.
Question: What is he addicted to? The character.
We have him addicted to painkillers.
Okay.
It's very big in the news, and people know how crazy people get when they get too far into them.
I love them, and I'm far gone, so I can relate.
Yeah, but you're not taking 30 a day, or you wouldn't be on the air with me.
You're right. I can't afford them, so maybe one day.
And you can't afford them, right? And no doctor gives you more than $90 a month, and you have to say you're near dead.
Let me ask you a question. How did you guys start writing the screenplay from scratch, or did you write a chunk of it, or she wrote a chunk of it, and then you guys approached each other?
Actually, I gave her an idea for the story, and I said it's bad, it's immoral, it's illegal, it's criminal, it's horrible, it's everything bad. And she said, let's go for it. And I said, it'll be dark, but it's kind of funny. It'll be funny to divorced women who are bitter, and maybe those are the ones who are pulling us in the film festivals. We don't know, but it is pretty funny how she gets out of a bad situation.
How long did it take you guys to write it, and like where would you guys meet up?
1 week.
1 week? 1 week straight?
1 week straight, and then I started submitting to a few film festivals and a couple of competitions just to get a feeling for how, it would be received. And, wow, a couple of critics were really angry at the nerve to write such a thing. And stay away from my wife. Stay away from my wife. I don't want her to meet you. And good luck with your career. But as I said, then we got our first laurel from Magwell. Let me see here. I could tell you who took us in. We're nominated so far. 1 in Vegas, 2 in New York. The United Kingdom. We have one there. We're preliminary finalists at Creative World Awards. They're big. Official selection at Action on Film Festival. There's not too much action, but the action there is kind of campy and funny.
Are you going to travel to the festivals?
You know what? I did that with the first one. I was asked as a nominee to come and do the red carpet thing, and I thought, what the heck, I'll get out of the house and I'll go do it.
But
I didn't realize...
You're a model. Hit the goddamn red carpet when you're invited. You might as well. I'm an ugly, bald guy. You know what I mean? I wouldn't.
You know what? I said that, too. I said it's been a long time since I've been, like, walking in heels with somebody looking at me. So I left my kids for a couple of days, and... yes, I did go, but I didn't realize that screenwriters were so low on the totem pole until I came back. I complained to a local writer, and she sent me Leslie Dixon, who's a well-known screenwriter. She wrote a little piece called A Dish Served Cold, and it just showed how she, at her level, and everybody knowing her, it was treated so badly by Helen Hunt and Kevin Spacey. She said they were horrible to her. And I laughed like hell, and I said, okay, I get it, because really as a screenwriter getting a Best Screenplay Award in Hollywood, you'd think somebody would have said hello to me or anything nice, but they didn't.
Helen Kuntz and John Wayne, Kevin Spacey. Fuck both of them.
Helen Hunt, Leslie Dixon said you disagree with her once and you're an enemy.
Well, where's Helen Hunt these days?
Nowhere, because you disagree with her once and you're an enemy.
You said...
So she made herself so unpleasant to work with, people are hiding from her.
You said that you left your kids with someone. Are those
my ex-husband? Yeah.
Okay, your biological kids?
I have a boy who's biological and my adopted daughter.
Okay. So what made you want to adopt when you already had a kid?
We did not. I was complaining so much about being so tired with a new baby. And when I told my ex-husband, listen, this little girl you've seen come over swimming every day, they're not taking her. I think we have to go get her. And he said, I can't leave my trading desk. He's a big guy. It would be like Melania asking Trump, listen, Donald, we have to go to Lithuania. It's going to be in the mountains and not so pleasant, no food, no beds. But for a week we do this. He would say, forget it.
What do you, as a New Yorker, what do you think of Trump?
I know him, and he's... okay, if you're married to him, you don't like him. But he is a respectable and he's a very pleasant guy. And I find him better than Hillary.
Has he ever Cosby any of your friends and pulled his dick out?
No, he is a lot more refined, and I'm sure when he wants to get together with a woman, he's a lot more of a gentleman. Well, he doesn't have a wife to send upstairs. I mean, really?
Do you have any good stories about him?
I had stories about Trump.
I mean,
I probably did back in the day, but that was when he was leaving the Ivana for Marla Maples. Well, everybody knows how they got divorced in the end. She peed on the beach with her bodyguard watching, and that was unseemly. And he wanted to keep a reputation, so he got rid of her before the 5th year.
Wow. My favorite movie about New York is The King of New York. Do you have a favorite film about New York or that takes place in New York City?
All right, I'll tell you, I was thinking about that, and I thought I saw Blue Jasmine, and I laughed so hard because my sisters were telling me they had seen it, and they were really reticent to talk about it or tell me what it was about. And when I saw Blue Jasmine, I laughed like hell because I realized the wife in that movie could perhaps be seen to be a little bit like me when I was married to my second husband.
Interesting.
And Alec Baldwin was exactly like my second ex-husband.
I wish you could drop names. It's a shame. But I appreciate you telling us.
What? We want name dropping. Is that what you want for your show? Okay. The first guy I kissed was Mick Jagger.
No. Did you kiss his dick also? Because
no, I did not. My friend was seeing him. He grabbed me outside the Pierre Hotel. We were going to the Bottom Line, and he kissed me. And then about a year later, I kissed him again.
Wow.
And, I'll drop another name.
There we go.
Okay. I just got out of a fashion show, so I was all done up, really done up. And I ran into a girlfriend of mine on 6th Avenue. She was talking to one of the guys in Aerosmith, and Steve Tyler came out, and he pushed me into a phone booth.
Really?
Yeah.
How far what base?
He kissed me hard. He's a much better kisser than Mick Jagger. That's good gossip.
You should have got pregnant by those guys. You'd be sitting nicer.
You know what? I've always been a little bit standoffish.
You're a model, of course. Right?
Well, the thing is, if you get chased by people a lot, you start to turn off to it a bit. Who's crazy? Who's not crazy?
Right.
I had a guy once drive me across the Brooklyn Bridge instead of my studio on 5th Avenue. I said, why are we going across a bridge? I live in the city. He was just taking me to his house. That was scary.
How'd you get out of it?
He left his keys to his fancy car on the kitchen table, and when he tried to pull me upstairs, he lived in a big house. When he tried to pull me upstairs, I grabbed the keys, and I said, I'm gonna F up your transmission. I can't drive what is it, not a automatic?
A stick shift?
Yeah, I can't drive a stick shift. I'm gonna F up your transmission, or you're going to get me a cab out of here.
Wow.
And I got a cab out of there.
Good thing that guy wasn't running in the Cosby circle, because you'd have been on the couch.
Well, you can get out of it. You actually can say no, spray them in the face with your little mace that everybody gives you when you move to the city, and then you leave, and they're washing their eyes out.
Good. Well, hey, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show, and especially name-dropping at the end. I wasn't expecting that. And I'm glad that you kept your friend's name secret, even though, she's probably not listening. Bill Cosby does listen to this show.
You know why? I think she's one of the ones that talk a lot, and we've seen a lot. I haven't seen her in 20 years. People change, and they get facelifts, and they look a little different.
And the Mickeys have changed over the last 20 years, too.
Yeah, well, we figured maybe she wasn't so shy. We thought maybe she blackmailed them.
I like that you have multiple opinions, or, you're open to anything could have happened, really.
Yeah, you don't know because models, we work a lot with pageant queens, and they're all so full of it, and everything is about using somebody to get by because they don't want to work 9 to 5.
Exactly. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. Your screenplay is Pill.
Yes.
We'll keep an eye out for it and keep us posted on its progress. We'll try to plug it as much as we can. I'm looking forward to
thank you.
Yeah, seeing it or reading it. And if I ever come to New York, or when I come to New York, I will hit you up for a kiss and some Chronic.
Well, you can do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, Jordon. All right, you guys. This episode was sponsored by the Richard Dawkins Foundation. You can check them out at richarddawkins.net. Their mission includes the quest to overcome religious fundamentalism, superstition, intolerance, and human suffering. So check that out and catch us next week on The White Bronco Show.
But like how? You don't understand. You just don't understand. Check it out, though. Sipping martinis, eating scampi and linguine, making blunts.